Hey, welcome to another class of Tuesday Night Beer School with me, Chad of Chad's Beer Reviews, and Brett of Urban Artifact. How's it going, man?
It's going. How are you?
Belgian Tripel. Overall impression: a strong, pale, somewhat spicy Belgian ale with a pleasant, rounded malt flavor, firm bitterness, and dry finish. Quite aromatic with spicy, fruity, and light alcohol notes combining with supportive, clean malt character to produce a surprisingly drinkable beverage considering the high alcohol content. Sounds like a lawyer wrote that. It was like, or like somebody's like job interview, like a resume, because usually it's just like one sentence, and like this is a whole damn paragraph. So
Yeah, they really plugged a lot of adjectives into that.
yeah, you know they have. I think they have different writers on like each style, and like there's no. They need like an editor. So BJCP, if you're watching, I'm available.
Come on, Gordon Strong, get with it.
Yeah. Comments: high in alcohol does not taste strongly of alcohol. The best examples are sneaky, not obvious. High carbonation and attenuation helps bring out the many flavors and to increase the perception of a dry finish. Most traditional versions have at least 30 IBUs and are very dry. But before we continue, I'll let you, the professional brewer, can you explain cases of somebody's first class? Like, what do they mean by high attenuation?
It means that there's not a lot of residual sugar. So the difference between the starting gravity, which is how much sugar is in the product before fermentation, and
Right.
finishing gravity is about as big as it can be. Basically, it's like I don't know. It's just dry. There's no sugar. That's what
Well,
that means.
the yeast ate all the sugar,
Yes,
or most of it.
yes, as much
Yeah.
as it can.
Yeah. And that, yeah, so that's what they mean by dry. Here's some ingredients: Pilsner malt, often pale sugar adjuncts. But by sugar adjuncts, like it's before the yeast eats it, not after. So you're boosting that gravity to make it more sweet. It's just for the more yeast, more alcohol, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Continental hops, which means from the continent of Europe. So basically like German or Belgian or French hops. Spicy, fruity Belgian yeast strains. Spice additions are generally not traditional, and if used, should be a background character only. Fairly soft water. Style comparison may resemble a Belgian Golden Strong Ale, but slightly darker and a bit fuller body with more emphasis on phenols and less on esters and a few late hops. Should not seem like a blonde barley wine. Again, pro brewer, can you explain what they mean by emphasis on phenols and less on esters?
So phenols, we're talking about a class of aromatic compounds that give you spicy characteristics. Usually, like when it's pleasant, clove.
Yeah.
When it's unpleasant, Band-Aid. It can also be maybe a little bit of that bubble gum or packaged circus peanut. That can all be in the phenol range. Esters are your more traditional fruity flavors that you see traditionally in like English styles, but red apple, pear, things of that nature.
And also the German wheat beer is like banana.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Isoamyl acetate. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, basically, phenols and esters. If you're going to study for the BJCP entrance exam, you just have to know like they're very, very similar. It's just kind of like, but they're both like yeast characteristics, and
Yes.
they can be good, they can be bad. Usually, esters are good, pretty much any beer, but like phenols, those are the ones that if you don't treat your yeast right, you're gonna end up with like Band-Aid and or smoke. You know.
Oh yeah. Well,
Yeah,
the
that's
smoke,
the
the
worst.
chlorophenols. Yeah,
Yeah.
those are bad.
So all right. So for our gravity, this is a pretty high starting gravity, 75 to 85, and then finishes, yeah, pretty dry, 8 to 14, 20 to 40 IBU. So that's the same as like a pale ale. SRM 4.5 to 7, so pretty pale, light, and 7.5, 9.5 ABV. Commercial examples. I think these are all, well, St. Bernardus and Trappist. And wow, they don't have the Fin Du Monde on here. They changed that for the. I mean, I guess they must change it for every edition of the guidelines. I remember the 2018 had Le Fin Du Monde on there. So this is a Canadian brewery, French Canadian, and they do all Belgian beer styles. I think they're aren't they owned by Sapporo?
Oh, are they
Pretty sure.
now? Oh, that's a
Yeah,
shame.
I think they have been for a while, but this brewery is pretty big because I'm down here in Florida and I can get them. But I think you can get it all on the East Coast. It might even be all 50 states, or at least like continental states. And the other example we have is an actual Trappist, is the Chimay White or Chimay 𝐁𝐞𝐥𝐬, I believe that's how it's pronounced. I would just call it Chimay White.
Same.
So
the Chimay White, since that's
I guess
the
we'll
home team,
pour
I
the
guess.
beer now, and we'll get started on aroma. Now, where's my bottle opener? The first thing I got on here was like it's kind of flowery, like a meadow,
Yes.
and I get a little bit of banana on this one.
See, I'm pegging mine a little bit almost as green apple-y, but I guess I could see like overripe, like banana bread level banana.
I was gonna say green apple. I mean, usually that's a bad thing. Maybe not green apple, but like green pear.
Is
Because by green apple, you don't mean acetaldehyde, right?
right.
Like more of a terroir kind of thing.
I think green pear is probably a better way to put that. You're right.
Yeah.
Like a really Bartlett pear.
Yeah. I think it has like kind of like a essence or suggestion of orange. It's like some kind of orange citrus or almost like a tangerine, but it's very, very mild in mine.
Yeah, it's not like orange juice. It's like essence, oil, the top notes.
Mm-hmm.
I get a pretty strong bready characteristic coming off of it from the malt that I wasn't necessarily expecting either, but I quite like.
To me, it's very Pilsner malty. That's the funny thing about Belgian and German beers. They both use Pilsner malt as their base, but the yeast like does such a huge job of changing everything, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I will say I'm not really getting, this doesn't strike me as being that spicy. Like I can tell it's alcoholic. By the way, this is what, 8%?
Yes.
Yeah, Chimay White is 8% ABV. I mean, yeah, like it goes 7, 8, 9, the red, white, and blue. But yeah, so I would say to me it's like floral. It's a little green, fruity, a hint of orange, and Pilsner base malt in there, like maybe. But it's not toasty. It's not certainly not roasty or anything like that.
No.
All right.
No, it is. There is a distinct lack of that traditional like clovey spice character, though.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's move on to Le Fin Du Monde. Oh, I think I have a kind of funky bottle here.
Oh,
This one to me, it kind of smells a little older. I'm getting like a little lemon lollipop on this one. But I also get like, I think there's an orange peel in there. Because I believe this beer is actually made with orange peel. It does say ale brewed with spices, but they don't really say what on the bottle. I mean, I guess I could look it up.
yeah, I get that. I get a little bit of like red delicious apple, but not necessarily estery. It's almost like caramel covered apple in a way. I'm getting like a weird milk caramel faint background note that I'm chalking up to the mix of the spice from the yeast and the orange peel. And the orange is nice. It's sweeter. It's less essential oily than the Chimay. For me, it's more like an orange slice.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's almost like like a smoothie or almost like a schnapps or something.
Yeah.
This one doesn't really have like, it's not a huge, which is odd. Like, you know, it says right on the bottle, ale brewed with spices. It doesn't seem like spicy. Like I think like there's kind of like a little bit of a clovey kind of thing. It is kind of flowery.
Yeah. I get a little more like coriander type spice than I do straight up clove, but there is a little bit of that.
Yeah.
There's more, at least there's more in there than there was in that Chimay as far as yeast spice goes.
Yeah, I agree. Especially when I'm doing them right next to each other. The Chimay is more, I mean, there's definitely esters and phenols there. It's just less present. But what's the, let's see, the ABV on this is, so this is 9%. And it's funny, I actually say on the back of the bottle, it says 19 IBUs.
Oh, it's
I'm not sure
low.
where yeah. I think they kind of make up with that with the spices, probably.
Doing these side by side,
Mhm.
the Chimay I have is smelling oxidized, at least in
Really?
comparison. Just a little bit. I'm getting like that sherry notes that I wasn't picking up just smelling it first, but at least the bottle I have
Yeah.
is a little oxidized.
Yeah, I get a little bit of that too, but these types of beers are so big you can age them. Although I think triples aren't really, you don't really gain much by aging them unless like they're like massive or something. By the way, I just looked it up, and the Chimay White is 38 IBUs.
Oh,
So that's almost double. Yeah, because the 𝓑𝓙𝓼𝓼's
it's
19.
double.
This is 38. That's literally double. No, it's
Yeah,
not double. It's wait, is it double?
yeah,
Yeah.
that's double.
Yeah. All right. Let's check the specs on aroma. Complex but seamless bouquet of moderate to significant spiciness, moderate fruity esters, low alcohol, low hops, and light malt. Generous, spicy, peppery, sometimes clove-like phenols. Esters often reminiscent of citrus fruit like oranges or lemons. All right, yeah, we both mentioned orange. May sometimes have a slight ripe banana character. Okay. I didn't really get banana on either of these. Maybe, like you said, banana bread.
Yep.
A low yet distinctive spicy floral, sometimes perfumy hop character is optional. Yeah, there is like I can definitely smell the booze in both of these, and it's, yeah, I'd say it's pretty pleasant. Alcohols are soft, spicy, and low in intensity. The malt character is light with a soft, slightly grainy sweet or slightly honey-like impression. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, like it's not like, I would say you get more malt character out of like a German Bock than this.
For sure.
So yeah, they're both right there. Let me bring up the score sheet. All right, so how are we going to score this on a scale of 1 to 12? I mean, ideally, these both should be like 50-point beers since the style guidelines are written around these beers, but we're always reviewing the container we have in front of us, not like the product as a whole. So my particular bottle, it's good. It's not as best as it could be, but it's really good. I'm going to say 10 for Chimay. What do you think?
I'm missing the moderate to significant spiciness and generous, spicy, peppery, sometimes clove-like phenols. I'm missing both those things, but it hits literally every other note that's called out in the aroma. So I kind of think that's kind of critical. So I'm leaning more towards 9 on the Chimay, at least the bottle I have.
Yeah, I could see that. And I'm gonna go 9 for the Fin Du Monde.
See, I was thinking this one was actually more like a 10 for me. I really like where it's sitting. At least the can that I have is, I'm getting the spiciness. I'm hitting out all the other notes. I'm quite enjoying it.
Yeah, too bad we don't have smell-o-vision because, you know, also like you have a can, I have a bottle, and the dates can be different, you know. So, anyways, let's move on to appearance. I don't know how these look on camera. They look almost identical in color. And I think there's like a slight haze to both beers. Yours looks like a super hazy. Did you pour the yeast in?
I must have jostled them prior to serving.
Yeah, because I only poured in like the top half of the bottle. I can definitely see particulates floating around on both beers. The Fin Du Monde is a little. This is the Fin Du Monde. This one's a little clearer. Yeah, and the Chimay White did pour about 2-finger foam when I poured it. Both of them have settled down now. I always judge appearance off when I first pour it because, like, a lot of times you don't get to appearance till like 10, 15 minutes later. You know, it's like, of course, the head's gonna die down by then. Deep yellow to pale amber in color. All right, so they're fine with it as far as the color. It says good clarity. It doesn't say like brilliant clarity. Effervescent, long-lasting, creamy, rocky white head, resulting in characteristic Belgian lace on the glass of their fades. Well, yeah, I mean, it does say good clarity, and we both have like a little bit of haze, but I mean, I would call these beers, you know, they're not as clear as like a Pilsner, but
They're looking pretty good.
Yeah, compared to like a hazy IPA. I would honestly give a 3 for both. I maybe do 2 for the Chimay because it's a little hazy, but what do you think?
I mean, given that the color is a little darker than I wanted on the Chimay, the fact that the head retention just wasn't there and it dissipated quickly, what foam was there, I can't give it more than a 2. But I think it's just because the bottle I have is oxidized, and both those things are going to hurt the color and the head retention. So for the bottle I have, the Chimay's a 2. For the can I have on the Unibroue, the Fin Du Monde, that's exactly what I was looking for. That nice kind of straw gold color with a good, really white head. It's a 3.
Okay. All right. Here's the best part. We get to drink it. Which one do you want to start with?
Let's go with the Chimay.
All right. Here we go.
Keep it going.
Cheers.
Cheers.
I haven't had this one in a while. First thing I noticed is like it's much more spicy tasting than it is smelling, or at least my bottle is.
Yes, and the bitterness is really pleasant on that. It really dries up the palate.
Yeah. I don't know if I can pick up like actual hop flavor, because to me, like I think like 90% of the flavor here, maybe 98% is like all yeast driven. So I'm definitely getting a peppery, a clovey peppery, but also, as I mentioned on the aroma, there is like deep down in there, like almost like a orange juice concentrate or orange peel, orange pith, something like that.
Yeah, it does. It does come off like orange pith. That the bitterness from the hops mixed with that kind of orange essence, citrusiness, it really does taste pithy. To me, yeah, it's great. I get a little bit of crackeriness on it as well, but like really mild. The yeast flavor, the pepperiness of it, fantastic.
And also, like by the time we got to drinking this, like mine's like pretty warm right now, and like it's amazing like how beer can change, or I mean, it really opens up like when it gets warm. But certain beers you wouldn't really want to drink warm. Like mine's probably like at like a wine temperature, like 50, high 50s, low 60s right now. I don't know.
I'm about there too. Maybe in the low 50s. I pick up a little bit of alcohol.
Yeah.
I get a little of that sherry from the oxidative damage that I was talking about. I can taste that on the palate more than I pick it up on the aroma.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, we were just saying off camera that like we're not 100% sure on the bottling date, but it says both of ours say L21, which I believe is sometime in 2021. We just don't know when, which would be anywhere from 2 to 3 years old.
And who knows how it was treated at the retailer, if it was sitting warm or who the hell knows.
I also get a kind of apple sensation on this one. Almost has like apple juice, like a red, like just Macintosh apple. We both said like kind of like green pear on the nose, but to me it tastes more like has like an apple-y, the good apple.
Yeah.
Flavor. Are you getting apple on it?
I'm really not picking that up too much.
I think it's probably maybe it's just the alcohol that I'm tasting. All right, so here we go with the La Fin Du Monde. Cheers. I don't know how do they say cheers in French. It's probably back here somewhere. Mine has that there is a funky note on mine, but I think it's from the age, or like it might just be heat damage.
Hazards of living in Florida, I guess.
Yeah. Although I will say, like this one, like the Chimay, it's much more spicy tasting than it is smelling.
Holy cow! This is I can't pick up the level of clove I'm tasting on the aroma. It was a clove bomb off the rip, which is was not expected. How peppery that Chimay was versus how clovey this is it's kind of nuts. I'm not
Yeah.
getting I'm not really getting the orange to the same degree as I was on the aroma for this one, but I am picking up more of that, what I'm attributing to like a coriander-like flavor, whether it is coriander or not, but that's
Yeah.
kind of what I'm getting.
Yeah. It's not, to me, it's not soap. I know some people perceive coriander as like soapy or cilantro. Although actually, isn't coriander is the seed for cilantro, right? Yeah.
Correct.
To me, this one is much more boozy, even though it's only 1% high. That's the funny thing about beers. Like you can taste the difference between 8 and 9%. This one is much warmer. I'm not really getting. I'm not like this. I got a little bit of vanilla on the Chimay, but this one to me seems like a little butterscotchy.
The alcohol and the finish, I think you hit that nail on the head. Where that Orval, to me, the finish is that
Chimay.
nice. Sorry, it's 𝓑𝓪𝒼𝒻. I keep saying that. Chimay, where it's that nice bitter pithiness that helps balance and make that beer drinkable. This one, because the IBUs are so much lower, I'm only getting the alcohol heat.
Yeah,
it's warm. It's not hot, but it's that's the finish.
Yeah, and I suspect that they're using orange peel or coriander or whatever they're using. It could even be like allspice or I mean, it's definitely not ginger. It's definitely not cinnamon. It's got to be just some kind of like earthy kind of spice like that. Yeah, this one's noticeably less bitter. Although this one's like, it's dry, but like in a different way, just from like the alcohol. Like I say the alcohol, and this one is like much more warming.
Yes, definitely more warming. I'm getting a little bit of graininess from the hops, but I really liked the crackery flavor on the Chimay a little bit more. I feel like I got more malt depth, where this one it's a lot of pieces kind of sitting on top of each other rather than being a cohesive blend.
Yeah. And the spec said that, spices are acceptable as long as they're like kind of like a background note. And I would agree that like whatever spices are in here are background.
Yeah.
They're not like, it's not like a Christmas beer or a Halloween beer or something like that. It's like it's a triple, like this little bonus spicy flavor. Let's check the specs on, I need a producer. All right, flavor profile, similar aroma for malt. All right, that is such lazy writing, BJCP. You need to. They do this on everything now. Just get rid of this first sentence. That's all you need right here. Esters low to moderate. I agree. I'm not really getting banana on either of these, unless you just say. I mean, I did get like an apple-y sensation, especially on the Chimay. Phenols low to moderate. It's funny because the Chimay, I get much more cloviness on that one, and even though the 𝓑 Du Monde like smelled clovey, it doesn't. To me, it's not really tasting clovey. How is it on yours?
Yeah, the Chimay to me is, the phenols I get are more in the peppery realm, like the black pepper realm, mild, like in between low and moderate. To me, on that Fin Du Monde, the clove and phenols are moderate to high. There's just a lot.
Yeah, I think it's just a difference between the age of the bottle and the age of the can, because it's very low on mine.
Yeah,
it's interesting. They do say hops low to moderate, because I would agree. Like on my Fin Du Monde, the hops are low, and on the Chimay, they are moderate.
Yes.
It does say alcohol low, all well combined into a coherent presentation. Well, I mean, that's kind of an odd way to phrase it. Alcohol low, because like, is there really any beer where like even like Bourbon County, which is like 14%, like, would you say high alcohol on that one? Like, I guess they just mean like the actual flavor of alcohol, or like the heat of alcohol,
Yeah.
I don't know if neither of these beers, I would say, well, I think also we're drinking it pretty much almost at room temperature now, which probably brings out the alcohol a little, but when you drink this cold, you know, that's one of the nice things about the Belgian Tripel style. Like as they said in the overall impression, has this sneaky alcohol. That's what's fun to drink a triple when it's cold. It's like you're just sucking it right down. You're like, oh my god, it's so boozy. You know, you don't even realize it until you're finished. Anyway, medium to high bitterness accentuated by a dry finish. I agree. I'd say the bitterness on the 𝓓 Du Monde, I mean, that's 19. That's low for the style. Both of these have a dry finish, but I think the 𝓓 Du Monde is more off the alcohol.
Yes.
And moderate bitterness in the aftertaste with substantial spicy, fruity yeast character. Should not be sweet. Yeah, neither of these beers are sweet. I mean, I think like a little bit of oxidation character. So you're getting like I said, kind of like butterscotch or sherry. It's kind of like a hint of sweetness, but it's not like it's not like a pastry style or something, you know.
It's the flavors that can be associated with some sweet things, but it's not sweet.
Yeah, and also like the taste of alcohol. Like I said, I get like a tiny little bit of vanilla or butterscotch, but it's not like it's a difference between like the flavor of those flavors and the actual sweetness or the sugariness of those.
Yes.
You know. All right, let's bring up the score sheet. All right, so for flavor, again, we're judging the container we have, not the whole product in its own. Mine's pretty good. I have had better bottles of Chimay White than this one. But this one is a good example. I think I'm going to say 16. I feel like I could go up or down a point. What do you think?
You know, the only issues with the oxidation that I have on the Chimay are really only presenting themselves in the aroma. To me, the flavor is everything I want out of a good triple. It's all the balance that they're talking about of the esters and the phenols and the alcohol and the hops and all finishing nice and dry, but big on flavor the whole way through. To me, I'm thinking 18, and I could probably even push it to 19.
Really? Wow.
I really can't dig it for much.
Yeah, because I was thinking, I was hedging there between 16 and 17. So we'll come back at the end. I mean, I could definitely, depending on how our score are, I could definitely see myself giving that a 17. For the 𝓓 Du Monde, I think my bottle's just old. I think it's got a little handling damage. It's just not as a great example of this style as the Chimay. Maybe that's why they took it off the 2021 guidelines as a commercial example. I don't know. And also they use a little bit of spices in this, but like which they didn't mention spices in the flavor, which they should have, because they mentioned it earlier. But yeah, so I'm rambling. I'm thinking I'm gonna go 14 or 15 on this one. I'm gonna say, I'm gonna say 14. What do you think? So
it hits all the notes that called out, except for the bitterness. I wouldn't even say the bitterness is medium on this, and it says medium to high. So there's a knock for me. The only other thing is that one key phrase, all well combined in a coherent presentation. Right. I don't think it's well combined. I think all the parts are there, but they're all sitting on top of each other rather than blending together. And to me, that's its biggest knock. So, like, I don't know how much to necessarily ding it. If you just factor in the bitterness, yeah, maybe a point, maybe 2 knocked off. But I want to say 16 is where I'm leaning at. I could be talked into 15.
Okay. Yeah, I could be too. All right, mouthfeel. To me, the Chimay is noticeably lighter and more effervescent, but that could just be like the container. Also, you have a can, which tends to, keep the oxidation out and keep the carbonation in. How's your 𝓓 Du Monde? Because mine is drinking. It's kind of like for the style, it seemed like a slightly bigger body and also a little lower in carbonation. The Chimay is, I probably put about, it's like medium, maybe even medium light, but high carbonation in 𝓓 Du Monde. I'd say it's medium, but high, maybe even moderately high carbonation.
I am basically the exact opposite of that for the containers I have. The can did this thing well. The body is medium light, carbonation's high, sprightly. I get the pricklies on the tongue on that Le Fin Du Monde, and the Orval to me is just a little bit more flat and muted. And the carbonation is just a little low, and it sits a little heavy on the palate. I can feel the body's not big. It just kind of sits on the palate because of the because of that oxidation.
Yeah. Let's check the specs for that. Mouthfeel, medium light to medium body, although lighter than the substantial gravity would suggest. I agree. It's like these are strong beers. They just drink like, again, like when they're cold, you can just suck them right down. Highly carbonated. The alcohol content is deceptive. It has little to no obvious warming sensation. Effervescent, should not be heavy. All right. Well, I mean, I definitely get a little bit of warming on both beers, but again, we're practically drinking them, or at least I am, almost at room temperature. Highly carbonated, yeah. Again, also when it's first poured, it's, these have been sitting around, so they kind of get a little flat. But both these beers are in that range, medium light to medium body. Yep. And then just say highly carbonated. And to me, my Le Fin Du Monde seems a little more like moderately high. To me, the Chimay is right there. The Le Fin Du Monde's a little lacking. So as far as mouthfeel, I would say I don't think the Chimay is perfect, but it's pretty high. I'm going to go 4.
I'm doing the same. 4. Yeah.
Okay. And for the Le Fin Du Monde, I feel like 3 is like too low, but 4 is too high. But I'll give it a 3.
I think the can just treated mine better than yours. I'm going with a 4.
4. Okay. Overall, I mean, to me, this particular Chimay is definitely better than this particular Le Fin Du Monde. But I've had this beer on tap actually. I think the best way to have Chimay White is 750 ml caged in cork bottle, cold. But this particular bottle, I'm thinking 7 or 8. I'll go 8. That's a 41.
The only thing that really gnaws at me with this one is just how distracting the sherry-like oxidative notes are on the aroma. Now that I've honed into it, and now that it's warmed up, it's just driving me nuts on the aroma. But everything else about it is sublime. So I'm right in the 8 or 9 range. I'll probably my gut reaction said 8.
Okay, so we're tied there. We both gave it a 41. Because you went higher on flavor but lower on aroma, and vice versa for me. I give it an extra point on appearance. The Le Fin Du Monde, this particular bottle is not very good, but I mean, I've had this beer other times and it's been awesome. Actually, this would, if I was going to make a list of my favorite beers of all time, just personal favorites, this would probably rank in the top 50, maybe even the top 20.
Wow.
This particular bottle is, I would not want to give this to somebody, be like, oh, you gotta try this beer. It's so good. This particular bottle to me is like a 6.
Wow.
What do you think?
The can I have is a 9.
Really? Wow.
This is what I want out of Le Fin Du Monde. And I think this is really cool because it shows the power of the difference of the vessels and how the beer is treated post-packaging. Because the same beer that we both know is world-class has that big of a difference in score is nuts.
Yeah. I mean, if this was a competition and we were drinking the exact same bottle and our scores were like this, we'd have to meet in the middle. I mean, I could, like I said, I could give that a 15. I could probably bump this up to a 7. Yeah. So that's a 5-point difference. I think that's about acceptable. So
I could come down on flavor to a 15 as well, but I wouldn't want to adjust. I feel pretty good about where this landed.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks to Brett for joining. Sorry, Christina couldn't be here. She's sick, and also she doesn't really like Belgian triples. Man, we are going super long, almost 45 minutes. This is gonna be a bitch to edit. I'm gonna cut like half this shit out. All right, so if you watch all the way in, you know you're awesome. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Somebody brewed it. Chad just reviewed it. Thanks for watching Chad's beer review. Trust me, the next episode will be a lot better.